Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting The Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development is the community's economic development organization. BSED's mission is to sustain and grow our region's vibrant economy and outstanding quality of life by providing leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, workforce development, and community development. Learn more and connect with BSED at bigsky.economicdevelopment.org.
And that's what I love about Fresco, is that each time a person comes in, they're leaving with something that's going to make them feel better. And then they're going to go out and be better with their circle of influence. So it has a ripple effect.
The following is a Big Sky Economic Development production.
It's Mars B.
And Kavo.
And this is The Vault at 201 North Broadway.
A business podcast
where we bring you entrepreneurs, small business owners, and community leaders of Montana.
You don't want to miss this.
Learn how to better start, manage, and grow your business.
And your leadership style.
Tangible takeaways to save you time and improve whatever it is that you're working on.
You're listening to The Vault.
Today, joining us on The Vault is Cindy Beers, founder and owner of Fresco Juice right here in downtown Billings. Welcome. We're so excited to have you. And she even brought us goodies, which no one's ever done that
Our
before.
favorite juices.
So our favorite juices. I love the blue juice.
I'm a 14 karat girl.
So it matches like our Vault personas, blue and orange.
I know it. I love it. It's so fun.
And if you've never tried carrot juice, you have to.
So good.
It's so good.
Even if you don't like carrots, you'll like carrot juice. I promise.
Yes, especially this one.
Oh, it's
delicious.
delicious.
This one is such an easy drinker.
This is like one of your shots. I just drink. I'm like, oh, I just
good.
drink it so fast.
So, Cindy, we're just really excited to talk to you today about your entrepreneurial journey. And we really like to start with people. Where did you grow up? What was your upbringing like? So we'll just jump right into that.
Okay, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun to hear about people's where they grew up
Right.
and what influenced them to do what they do now.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Casper, Wyoming.
Oh,
Shout out, Casper.
Mm-hmm. And I, graduated from high school there and came to Montana to go to college. At the time, there was an undergraduate exchange. And it was the same price for me to go to Montana State as it was for me to go to University of Wyoming. And in all of my 18 years of maturity, I really wanted to be far away from my dad. That lasted about 4 weeks, and then I was begging to come home, but that's beside the point. So I went to Montana State, and I've been in Montana ever since, with the exception of 1 year. After I graduated from Montana State, I went down to Salt Lake and did an internship down there for 1 year, but I came right back. So I've been here.
So what was your degree in and what, so you wanted to go away. So you'd come to Montana,
Right.
which is far enough away from Wyoming.
Right. It's not an easy, just a quick drive.
It's a couple of.
It takes a commitment. Mm-hmm. So at the time I wanted to be an accountant, and about a year and a half into that, I realized that I hated all my classes and that was not going to be my strength. And so I dropped that major, and I needed a science core because I didn't have a major. And I'm going to just feel this out. I had my choice at that time to take physics or to take a nutrition class to make up that core. And I opted for nutrition because
I think I would have totally opted for that also.
I'm like, physics? No, thank you.
Because at least nutrition,
math,
you can use it in your life, where physics, no offense to anyone, but I'm like, woo.
Your guys' brains work differently.
Yes. Yeah. So I was not interested in physics. I took nutrition and I fell in love with it. And from that class, I declared my major as nutrition. Awesome. And I had some business classes, obviously, because I was in accounting. So I got a minor in business as well. So my degree, my official degree, is in home economics because at the time nutrition fell under the home economics umbrella. It's no longer in that school, but that is what my degree is in. So nutrition with a business minor. And after I was done with college, I applied and went down to an internship at the VA Medical Center in Salt Lake City and did that. Came back here, got a job at Billings Clinic and started working there. And
were you a nutritionist there?
Yes, I was a registered dietitian. I worked as an outpatient nutritionist there for almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So so I know that, unless I'm mistaken, but did you have to test when you were out of college after the internship to be registered?
Yes.
And then is it different in different states?
It is a national.
Oh, nice.
It's
okay.
like an overloop. Nationally, it overlaps. And once you've tested, you have to just maintain those credentials with continuing education credits. And I opted, even after I was done working, to continue those continuing education credits. At one point, I considered just dropping that certificate or that, my RD. That's the two initials behind my name as registered dietitian or RD. And
But you're like, I worked so hard for it.
I did
And then
work
to
so
get it
hard
back
for
again
it.
would
I know,
be hard.
and to get it back again, you have to take the whole test.
Yeah.
And the whole test, when you go into dietetics, you don't just learn about nutrition. You learn about food science. You learn about metabolic issues in the body. You learn about disease in the body. You learn about food service management and quantity cooking. So it's a really vast degree. And I was like, I don't want to take that test.
It's like taking
again.
the driving tests, right? You're like, oh, I'm never going to let that expire.
Right. So I maintain my credentials. So I still have those little initials
Awesome.
behind
As you
my name.
should.
Thank you. Yes,
So
I worked hard for those.
What is that renewing the credentials? I know that's common in certain fields where you go and maybe you attend a conference or you do,
Yep.
Whatever that is. What does that look like for you?
So for the RD, it's 60 hours over 5 years. So not
Oh, that's not too
awful.
terrible.
And thankfully, they have so many opportunities. You can go to a conference. You could, for me, I did online learning because I was a stay-at-home mom at, the last 15, 20 years or so. And so I wasn't going to conferences and I wasn't working and I wasn't doing all of the things that could get me those credentials or those continuing education credits. So I just went through and looked at online courses that I could take and picked the ones that I was interested in that might apply to me and just kept my credentials up that way. So it was easy to kind of tailor my, I've always been interested in nutrition and wellness and inflammation in the body and all of those things. So I was able to kind of
I have so many questions for you that we'll take offline, but we could get to a rabbit hole of inflammation in the body.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So walking back a little bit, what was it like? What we haven't had anyone on that has this degree and this background. So what was it like working in a hospital setting? Like what was that job like? Like what does your day-to-day look like?
So I was an outpatient dietitian. I worked very little in the hospital. My role as an outpatient dietitian was to see patients that the doctors said, okay, you have type 2 diabetes, you have high cholesterol, you have high blood pressure, you need to lose weight. So those patients were referred to me and I would help them then look at, all right, what's your life look like? What's your eating look like? How can we make changes? So I got to sit and talk with people, and best case scenarios, I got to establish a relationship with these people and help them improve their
Well-being,
diets and their overall health and understand how what they were putting in their mouth was impacting their health. So I had office hours and patients had appointment times, and I would sit down and do an assessment with them, talk with them. Sometimes it was a 1 hour deal and I never saw them again. And then there were other times that it was, an hour-long initial consult, and then I would see them regularly. I also worked really closely with the diabetes education component at the clinic. And so my an additional certification that I worked on was to be a certified diabetes educator. So I really worked a lot with type 2 diabetes, partnered with the nurse educator, and the two of us got to work together as a team with our patients. That people would be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. They'd go and see her, And then they'd come and see me, and we got to work together to help these people with their chronic illnesses.
So were you working with a lot of diabetics when you worked at the VA in Salt Lake, or
no? So the VA,
because I know that sometimes there's some of that they see a lot of reoccurring treatment.
Yes, a lot of chronic illnesses at the VA, but the internship was kind of an extension of schooling. So it was exposure to all of the different avenues that nutrition, a registered dietitian may or may not be working in. So I had rotations at that point. I worked on all of the floors in the hospital. I did have an outpatient rotation. I did have a rotation in the food service where you're, making the trays that are going up to the patient rooms. So it was more rounded and less specific than my job as a registered dietitian at the clinic was.
So speaking of treating diabetes, not treating it, but like accompanying that as a nutritionist, what are some of those things? Maybe if someone's listening and they are diabetic, like what are some of those food components that you saw and you talked a lot about with those patients?
Well, the first thing that we would teach people is how food impacted their blood sugars and carbohydrates in foods, sugars in food, better ways to incorporate those, how to eat carbohydrate-rich foods, perhaps with protein or fats to help blunt the glycemic response, which is how quickly your blood sugar goes up and how quickly it may drop down. But what I loved the most about it is that I was able to individualize it. There's this big group of guidelines that you have, general guidelines for anybody that has that diagnosis, whether it's type 1 or type 2 diabetes. But then to apply it to a person, it really takes listening to what that person's lifestyle is like, what they're willing to do, where they're at. So I enjoyed helping people to look at where they're at, perhaps where they could be, and helping them take small steps to get toward that goal. Because for me to have somebody walk in and just see me one time and have me say, these are the things that you should be doing, and have them leave, that wasn't a win for me. That was where I thrived, was being able to talk to patients and helping to kind of custom tailor a plan that they could succeed with and that would improve their health and, life by extension. So food is fascinating. I mean, the way that food impacts our bodies and the types of food that goes into our bodies, how that impacts us, how we feel physically, mentally, all of those things. I think our country and our food system doesn't give enough credit to how food impacts us on all levels.
Gosh, we should just do a whole thing on that.
It's just, it really, people just don't make that connection well enough.
No.
Right, because it's almost like, and we've talked about it, but it's like we're more on convenience based, where like in other countries, like Europe, it's not based on convenience. Just their lifestyle is very different.
Yes.
They don't.
They shop every day.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just different.
They don't. Yeah, they're most of the food on our shelves, it can't even be on their shelves.
Right. Right.
That's a sticky subject. We don't have to talk about it.
Right. I know, but it's convenience.
Yeah.
And it's a real problem.
Yes.
And I think it's a complicated solution too. I mean, for me to say you need to eat more fruits and vegetables and you need to drink raw juice, that's great, but I have the means to do that. Not everybody has the means to do that. So how do we better our food industry, and how do we make it easier for everybody to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables? And I constantly go back to circle of influence. If I get to
tell us about that. If listeners are like, oh, what is that?
So like, I am constantly asking myself, what's my circle of influence? I can get really uptight and irritated by agriculture and, the fact that you walk into the grocery store and everything's so processed, and that isn't exactly my circle of influence. My circle of influence is my family, my friends, my business, and downtown and Billings, so it just kind of, it increases. So I start small. Okay, what can I do to help my family? What can I do to help my friends? When they come over, we try to have decent food at the house. And I'm not saying that we don't have junk food, but, we try to enjoy each other amongst healthier foods.
Yeah.
And then how do I influence the customer that walks into my shop? They walk into my shop for a reason. How can we give them what they're looking for? And not only walk out feeling better because they made a great choice that their body is going to thank them for, but, where are they in their heads? Where are they? How are they feeling overall about life? And is there a way that I can brighten their day and be a light? So my circle of influence, I have to remind myself, is smaller. And that doesn't mean that I don't care about the big issues. But I can't, if I'm so focused on the big issues of the world and of the country, and then my personality loses sight of what I can influence.
Well, and I truly believe even those small acts of impacting your family and your friends with healthier food choices, those small acts turn into bigger acts, because then they go, oh, I'm going to source locally. I'm going to buy from that local farmer, that local rancher.
Right.
And so one small act actually makes huge impacts because you're impacting the people that are in your circle of influence.
Right. And that's what I love about Fresco, is that I have repeat customers. I see you guys come in and I'm like, oh, yes, they're coming back. And I know that each time a person comes in, they're leaving with something that's going to make them feel better physically, mentally, and then they're going to go out and be better with their circle of influence. So it sounds cheesy, but it has a ripple effect.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit. So you were at Billings Clinic, and then you said you stayed at home with it and raised your family, which was wonderful. What were some of those things? Like, when did you start thinking about wanting to open your own business? And why did you want, you have this background in nutrition. So let's talk about that.
Oh, why did I want to do this? Some days I ask myself.
We're so glad you did.
I will share that with you. Most entrepreneurs have that same thought every single day.
Yeah. I felt like my kids were in a good place. They were old enough that they could understand me not being, there 100% of the time. I felt like it was a good way for me to share some of my gifts with a larger group of people than my family. I spent so many years really honed in on family, and I just really felt like I needed to broaden that. And a juice bar and downtown Billings would have never crossed my radar. But
and were you juicing at home? Was that
I was
a normal
juicing
thing?
at home,
Okay.
But not for a really long time. I had been. Some of my backstory is I have my own personal gut issues, and so in trying to manage those gut issues, I found myself eating fewer and fewer fruits and vegetables because I couldn't handle them. My gut just hurt. And so then I was eating less of the foods that I wanted to eat and taking more vitamins. I was kind of doing exactly the opposite of what I knew intuitively I needed to be doing for my body. And I found juice. And I found raw juice. And it was on a trip in Colorado post-COVID, kind of mid-COVID. And I was able to drink this juice, and I didn't feel bad after it. And so I started looking at I bought a juicer. I started
Favorite
making
home
juice.
juicer?
I haven't found a
Real good
really
one.
good home juicer. I'm kind of a juice machine snob. If it's got to be cold pressed. Most of your juicers are a centrifugal juicer where they take the pulp and they will push it through a really sharp screen, and so you will get a pulpier juice, and you'll get a juice that just isn't as smooth as our
Beautiful.
juice. The reason our juice is as smooth as it is that we grind it. Everything goes into a hopper that has a liner, and then it is hydraulically pressed. So all of the pulp stays in that bag, and all you get is the juice. So you get all of the vitamins, minerals, enzymes, all of the good things. You get the soluble fiber and the insoluble fiber, which tends to cause gut distress, stays behind and doesn't get into the juice. So I started to personally feel better. And really the only thing that changed was the juices that I was drinking.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I would share them with friends, and they would, well, it's really good. What do you think about selling it? And, so I started kind of just looking at things, and I did look at bringing in a franchise and opted not to do that because I had a lot of people telling me, you can do this, Cindy. You have the ability to start this on your own. You don't need to have the franchise. You can do it. And so I just did it.
There's always benefits to a franchise, but then there's limitations. Like you're very controlled on what you can do and your recipes. And, if down the line their practices start changing, then you don't have control over that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And and truthfully, I was looking at the franchise because I didn't have enough faith in myself to be able to do this. And the people that knew me well encouraged me and just said, you can do this. No, you don't know how to do it, but there are people out there that know how to do it. Will help you figure it out. And I'm so grateful that it's mine, and I can customize things, that I can partner with local businesses, that I can come downtown. When I was looking at the franchise, downtown wasn't an ideal location because the franchise required me to be open 7 days a week. And downtown wasn't ideal to be open 7 days a week. So for me, I personally didn't want to be open 7 days a week. I wanted to be open 5, maybe 6 days a week. And downtown fits that. And so it all, looking back on it, it all just happened the way it was supposed to happen. But there really wasn't one moment of me saying, I'm ready to leave the house and I'm going to start a business. It just was this organic, this slow, yet steady
you fell
process.
Into it.
I kind of did.
So tell us about the name, like when you were, and then the name and how the location that you're at. I love the location you're in, and I love to see that activated again in such a fun way.
I do too.
How did that come about for you?
So the name, like most business owners, you go through probably 10 different names. And we had everything from So Fresh and So Clean, hip hop goofiness to Miss Cindy's Juice Bar to all sorts of things. And at the time that this was all kind of a dream in my head, we had a foreign exchange student living with us, and he was from Italy. He lived with us for 2 years. He is like a son to me.
Oh.
And
what a good connection to have.
Oh my goodness. He's from Italy, and he said, what about Fresco? Fresco means fresh in Italian. And I thought, what about Fresco?
Yeah.
And so it just, Fresco Juice Co. I wanted something that would roll off the tongue. It's not Fresco Juice Company, it's Fresco Juice Co. That's the official name. And I don't know, it just felt right. And it was a great way for me to kind of always have that connection with him, because the name truly did come from Filippo. He's not living with us anymore. He's now in college and he's doing big kid things and back in Europe. But
Big kid things.
I know.
That's funny.
Yeah. But we miss him but he is part of our family. And so Fresco is a family owned business and it just felt right to give it that name. So, and fresh is everything that we do. I mean, everything is as fresh as we can get it when we're there.
That we just had avocado toast there not too
really
long
good.
ago, and man, was that delicious.
Thank you.
And I love your logo. I think I love
yes.
the play on the orange. Like the coloring is so pretty and fresh. And I think it does roll off the tongue nicely. And it's just all like how you guys have done your business, the setup, the signage, all of the little details are so beautiful in your store. Even looking at the logo on our juice bottles with the cute little orange
and the names of the juices.
So cute.
Thank you.
So tell us about the location.
So the location.
And then we'll get into the juice.
No, the location, again, it was a fluke. I was looking at the West End because I felt like my clientele was, lived on the West End predominantly. And I was a typical Billings person who lived on the West End and I never came downtown. I'm like, downtown? I'm not going to downtown. But thankfully, I went to dinner with a girlfriend at Walker's. We went to a concert that night. And as we were walking past the location that used to be Well Paired, she said, I'm so sad that this closed. What? It closed? And I'm looking in the windows. I'm like, oh my stars, it closed. What is going on here? And one thing led to another. And I started talking to the landlord. And the lease was half the amount of time. I was looking at signing a 10-year lease for double the amount on the West End. Brand new business, no clue what I'm doing. And that just didn't feel right to me. And then I thought, you know what? Downtown has a built-in community of people that are going to come in. And this was a popular location. That business that was in there, people enjoyed going to that business. And my friend who also happens to work downtown said she really missed it. And so I thought, I think this is just a divine gift. This was the good Lord saying, Cindy, this is where you need to be. And I am so grateful being sandwiched in between those two hotels.
Oh, it's probably great.
It's huge. I would have been a destination stop on the West End, and I'm not really a destination stop now. I mean, some people will drive just to come to Fresco, but a lot of people are just
convenience.
Impulse. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's healthy, and I think that I love that you bring up you're between the hotels, so a lot of travelers. And it's like sometimes you just want to go and grab that like healthy option because you've been traveling and you've been eating God knows whatever you're
the time.
eating.
Heavy food.
Yes,
exactly.
I hear it all the time. And we have the flight attendants and the pilots stay in those hotels, and they're coming from bigger metropolitan areas that have foods and drinks like this more readily available. So they come in, they're like, oh my gosh, I love this. So it really has been... it's been fantastic being downtown. And it mirrors my desire to have the shop open during business hours and close in the evening. Downtown, but my products just aren't going to sell well in the evening hours. People are, looking for dinner and looking for
6
cocktails.
p.m. They're not like, I need to get my carrot juice.
Exactly.
In the mornings we are, though. We're like,
9
okay, we didn't eat well last night. I need a juice to make myself feel better.
Exactly. And we have a magic elixir. You happen to have it in your hands.
I love this one.
That one is...
it's my favorite.
Blue juice is the miracle hangover cure. I don't know what it is about blue juice.
I'm not hungover today, but I will keep that in mind. I just love it because it's like, it just has such a good taste. So Kayla brought it up a little with the avocado toast, and then we were talking. So the juice, that's a perfect transition. Tell us about the curation of your menu and the juices. Like, how did you come up with the names? What goes in them? Like, how does that all come to be?
Again,
and we're also volunteering to be taste testers if you ever need to add new ones.
That.
We love being guinea pigs. We're very good.
Well, my husband would tell you that the trial and error process that was at home was not pretty. I mean, I would hand him, try this. He's like, oh, do I have to? And my kids would agree. But when I started to realize that this could truly happen, I found a chef who works for the company that I buy all of my juicers from. And I hired him. He's a consultant. I hired him because he is an expert in creating juices. He opened the very first organic juice bar I think it was at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, like 10 or 15 years ago. So he was in charge of doing that. So he's a master. And I said, this is where I live. These are the things that I want. If it were up to me, I would have had only green juices because I personally love the green juices. And he said, Cindy, you will go out of business if you have only green juices on your shelf. You need to have a diverse menu of different flavor options for people. And I'm so glad I listened to him. And so what he did is I hired him to develop these recipes, and he developed probably, I think, 8 recipes for me. And then we went back and forth. I like this about this one. I like that one. And I just started testing in my kitchen at home with a big monster juicer on the kitchen counter for 6 months. I mean, it was such an eyesore, but we did it. And he modified the recipes. And so the recipes are mine, but he had the kind of the template. And then names. Blue juice is named blue juice because it's blue, and that's what my kids called it when we were trialing it and testing it. And I considered renaming it, and the children in my family said, absolutely not.
I like that it's called blue juice. I think it's fun.
So one of the stewardesses that came in, though, said that in the airline industry, do you remember when the toilet water was blue?
Yep.
That's what they called the. Anyway, I was like, please, I really wish you hadn't told me that the blue you call toilet water blue juice. But anyway,
I bet you didn't know it was that tasty this whole time.
Apple, lemon, cucumber.
I know. Yeah. So anywho, the names have just kind of, I don't know, it's been a mixture of staff throwing things out and me. Yeah. I mean, some of them are easy, like Healthy Hawaiian. The first time I tasted Healthy Hawaiian, I said, this tastes like a healthy version of Hawaiian Punch. And
it stuck.
And it's
Healthy
stuck.
Hawaiian.
I think that's the only one I haven't tried.
Oh, you'll like it. It's, yeah.
I don't know if I've tried that one either.
Yeah.
I'll have to go get it.
We have to make a tray up.
Yeah. Well, you guys can always come and get samples. And that's another thing that's unique, I think, about Fresco is that most of the time when you walk in a juice bar, you see all of the juices and you see the prices. And then you think, if I buy that juice for that price and I don't like it, then I'm stuck with that juice. And I just paid
You have to choke it down.
$8, $9, $10 for a bottle of juice. So I am very adamant about, if you haven't tasted a juice, please let me know and we will get you samples. So we've got a refrigerator right next to our cooler that has sample bottles in it. Somebody comes in, I want to try this juice. And we just taste juices all day long. And that way my customers know that, okay, this juice that I thought I was going to like, I don't really like. And then the juice that I thought I was going to hate, but I really like the one that I thought I was not going to like. And so people are pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm. And you guys have the little shots too. Kayla alluded to those, but like little.
We do. We have shots, and those we have 4 different shots, and those are built to do different things. We have one that helps with inflammation, one that we sell out of in fall and winter. That's the flu shot.
I drink so many of those when I start to feel like I'm getting sick.
And it helps.
Yes.
And I always tell people, this is not going to prevent you from getting sick or make whatever virus it is go away, but it is going to
help fight it. Yeah.
Up your body's ability to fight that virus. And that's all we can do is, help our bodies fight what they're trying to fight. So, flu shot, and then Get Up and Go is our beet and ginger. That one is really great for just a caffeinated pick-me-up.
Mm-hmm.
And then our last one is Kickstart, which is grapefruit and mint.
Oh, that one's good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should try that one because speaking of mint, I really loved the watermelon mint. I think it was, I forget what you called it.
We called it water mint.
Yeah.
Water mint. Oh, I like
so
it.
good though.
Yes.
Like, and watermelons are super hydrating. So,
Yes.
I loved
And
that one.
so simple.
Yeah. Watermelon and mint.
That's all that's in it is watermelon and mint.
It's so good.
Yeah. And the thing I love about that is that it's a seasonal juice. And that's another part of our business model is I have our core juices, but then I also have seasonal juices. You know, we have hibiscus hydrate. That one is a great summertime drink. It's light, it's refreshing, it has coconut water in it. The water mint is watermelon and mint. You're not going to see watermelon and mint or water mint come out of Fresco in December because
we don't have watermelon.
we don't have, well, we do, but they're not great watermelons.
Right.
And so I really try to
Keep it with how the season.
exactly. Yeah. And that's not true all of the time. Some of my core blends have fruits in them that are out of season. But I'm able to get them and I'm able to get the organic version of those. So, but if I can't get an ingredient, then it's not made and we just don't have it.
So you just mentioned organic. Do you try to source as organic as possible?
I do. So, anything that goes in the juice is organic. So I guarantee, and that's something that I tell every customer that walks in. If it's in the juice, it's an organic produce. Now the back of the house, the menu, I forgot about that question. But the other menu items, I focus on the Dirty Dozen, which are the top 12 most pesticide-ridden fruits and vegetables every year. Typically strawberries, blueberries, your lettuces, spinach. So that pairs. That list varies every year, but Fresco will always have, if it's on the Dirty Dozen list, it will always be organic at Fresco. If it's not on the Dirty Dozen list, then I try to get it organic, but if I can get it conventionally grown at a better price, then I will get it conventionally grown. So for instance, bananas are not on the Dirty Dozen. So when I make a smoothie, we use conventionally grown bananas. Because I can't use everything organic or the price I would have to charge in order to cover my costs would be so expensive. But
and bananas grow like at such an insane rate. Like I remember being in Hawaii on it. They compost more than like half the bananas back into the field because they produce so much and they can't sell them as fast as they grow.
Right. Yeah. So so Dirty Dozen, and our berry smoothie has strawberries, blueberries. Those are all organic frozen strawberries and blueberries. The bowls, if it has a strawberry and a blueberry that's topped on it, it's organic. Pineapple, conventional. It's not on the Dirty Dozen list. So that's how I differentiate.
I've never heard of that. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, I know. I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
I tried to go completely organic, and man, does that just empty your pockets?
It does. It's really, really hard. And so, and it's not always.
And you have to be careful of the organic because they can label it that, but it's like they can say organic, but there's certain things that you still have to look for because anyone can put whatever they want on a label.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so that Dirty Dozen is a good reference for consumers. And that's the reference that I use at Fresco. As far as us developing the menu, when we first opened in January of 23, all we had were juices.
Because I loved seeing you guys evolve over the last couple.
And that was always the goal. But I am just enough of a perfectionist that I did not want to open in January of 23 with the juices and then smoothies and smoothie bowls and toasts and all of the things because I had no clue what I was doing. And so I needed to get comfortable with the production of the juices and marketing the juices. And then we started practicing with smoothies. And then I introduced smoothies because I knew that what we were capable of doing at that time was juice and smoothies. All right, we're going to get smoothies under our belt. Now we're capable. Now we're able to do toasts.
Oh
and
my
so
gosh.
it's just been building.
Yes.
And, this summer we added salads. I wanted to do it last summer, but it was my first summer and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if we were going to be slammed all day long every day. I just didn't know what to expect. So we stuck with smoothies, bowls, and toasts. This winter we added soups because I wanted I wanted to encourage people to come in the wintertime and
Get something warm but healthy.
Right. Get something warm that's made, our soups, we make them small batch. We make them every morning. When it's sold out, it's sold out. And
I would come and get the soups to go.
Yes.
That were just in the case. And then I would just keep them here in the fridge. So then every day I was like, I'll just heat up my soup.
Yes. And
so good.
It was perfect and it brought people in to the shop. And the juices are why I started Fresco, but the other menu items support people coming in and grabbing a juice.
So I want to give you huge kudos because what you did is something that a lot of business owners can't comprehend or can't do in the beginning is work on the thing you're mainly focused on and then slowly add pieces in as you can versus just going full force. I mean, you could have launched a whole entire menu.
Right. And I think I would have failed.
And yeah.
Because I would have been putting out subpar product and I knew that I only had one, maybe two opportunities to win a customer.
Yep.
And if if January of 23, I served you a salad and it wasn't a fantastic salad, you probably wouldn't have come back, or you would have come back. And so it just was it a smart business decision? I don't know, but that was what I was most comfortable doing, was just a little bit at a time.
It's very smart. Yes. Very smart decision.
And it's been fun. It really has been fun. And and like we've started adding grab and go, you mentioned the grab and go soups and like the little hummus cups and our chia puddings and chickpea salad. And people come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I can take this for later. And that's absolutely what I want to do. I want people to have access to healthy, real foods easily.
And I love that you're allergen friendly because I can't have gluten.
Yes.
And you guys always have options for me.
I'm so glad you like that.
Yeah.
Gluten.
Oh, yes.
I'm gluten free. And
so
I really try to.
Those toasts were amazing.
They're so good.
Well, and so not only do we have the gluten-free toast, but we are able to partner with La Fournie. That's where I get my
I love
the bread is at La Fournie. So his breads are beautiful. I wish I could eat them, but they just make all the difference in the world with our avocado toasts. And I love partnering with him because he's a small business and
he's awesome.
He's fantastic for downtown. People love him, and it just raises our avocado toast to the next level.
Absolutely. Do you do a sourdough?
Yeah. No, we do the country loaf.
The country loaf.
The country loaf so and good. The Levant. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I know.
But it's a lighter toast for our banana almond toast.
Oh, yum.
But I love it. And you do it too in the community. So you do great local partnerships and sourcing locally, like when you can. And I think that that's really cool because can you tell us a little bit about your Fresco fridges or
I was going to say your collaborations.
Yes. Fresco in the wild. Oh, that's kind of a fun
Fresco in the wild.
So
good one, Marcy.
Thank you.
One of the deterrents to being downtown is that it's hard to get downtown. A lot of people are uncomfortable coming downtown for whatever reason it might be. And I was able to find refrigerated units that are locked, that are basically a vending machine.
Which is cool.
And I can place them in businesses. I have two of them right now. One is at Black Orchid Hot Yoga, and that was my first. And then I have another one at Ivy Nutrition on the West End.
Both awesome businesses.
Yes. And I get to partner with local businesses. But the premise is I fill the fridge. They don't have to do anything. All the businesses have to do is provide a 2x2 foot piece of floor space and a plug-in. These units have cellular, so I can access them and see what is in my inventory at any given moment.
That's really
so I can
cool.
see my sales. I can restock them as needed, and the business doesn't have to do a thing. All they have to do is provide the real estate.
And it's a great membership value add to their clients that are coming in, like so genius.
Yes. And I want to get more of them out in the community.
I have so many ideas for you. So
we would take one if you want. I know we're close to you, but
I know. Well, and there are.
It would be empty all the time.
By Kayla, not.
Be good. And so we're trying to get those out, but there's this balancing act of the juices can't sit in there for very long. I have a 5 to 7 day shelf life with the juice. So I'm constantly playing this game of too much versus not enough in the fridges. And if I'm stocking a fridge and it doesn't sell, then it doesn't sell and it is wasted. And so it's been a steep learning curve. I've only had these 2 units for about a year, and I've learned a lot. I've learned that you have to have lots of people kind of accessing that. And what the other thing that I've learned is that people have to taste the juices. It is really hard to convince somebody to buy a $9 bottle of juice when they haven't tried it. And they aren't at Fresco
to try it.
To sample it. Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is important is to have kind of sampling events, and just to try and get so that people can taste the juice before they buy it. It just makes all the difference in the world.
And probably for their staff too, to know what it tastes like,
Right.
so they can be like, oh my God, this one is like
This one's my
super
favorite.
veggie. So if you really like green veggies, or if you were looking for something lighter, maybe try this one.
Yes.
So for their staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could totally see going and getting an IV from IV Nutrition and then just sitting there sipping on my juice because, you're getting pumped full of, awesome vitamins and nutrients, and then you're drinking them too. And gosh, what a power.
And being able to have public access to those machines makes a big difference. Some of them, some businesses want them to be private, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But some of them, like IV has Club Pilates people, so
How fun.
and they come over and they'll empty the fridge, which is fantastic. And then I actually had somebody that goes to that fridge come into the shop the other day, and she ended up doing some cleanses. So, there's just so many ways to serve the customers. The other thing that we do that I really want to work on growing is a subscription.
So fun.
And to our subscribers, we guarantee that their juice is pressed on Mondays, and they can choose to have it delivered to them, or they can come in and pick it up. And then they know that it was pressed that day, and they have 7 days with that juice. Instead of, if you walk in the shop on a Thursday, you may or may not get a juice that was pressed on Wednesday. And it's just harder to buy larger quantities when you're picking juices that have been pressed at different times, because they're going to expire at different times. So the subscription is a way for us to make sure that people get fresh juice and they get it easily. And so we're trying to grow that as well.
That's awesome. And you do cleanses, so people could order cleanses.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I have a question so you're a newer company. So, and you have such a great team at Fresco. They're great at customer service. They're lively. They look like they love being there. So tell us about your Fresco company culture.
It is my ultimate vision is that our culture is one of a family and team that work together to build each other up, build the customers up, and not to tear each other down. One of the things that I am most proud of is our gossip-free zone.
I love that.
I tell people when we interview, this is a gossip-free workplace. You will not. It is not acceptable to gossip about your coworkers. about the owner, about the customers. We just don't do it. It's not constructive, and it's harmful. And it really creates this division and this gross feeling amongst people. So we try to have fun. We try to enjoy each other. I try to get to know my staff, and I love it when I hear my staff creating bonds with each other, and starting to hang out with each other outside of work. And, then I'm like, I'm winning. These people are, they're
becoming
like
family.
each other. And, and I don't know, I'm a big lead by example, and I try not to be grouchy. Try is keyword there. But when I am grouchy or when I don't meet my expectations, I also try to be humble and apologize and say, you know what, man, I'm having a day. And
Because we all have those days.
And I'm human, and we are all human. And I think grace is a big part of our company culture, or at least that's a great part of how I try to lead. I lead with grace. I try to afford people the benefit of the doubt. And I try to build up before I have to critique. And I'm also very picky about who I hire.
Well, you want to hire well and for someone to fit. And I think that we talk about that with other people, but hiring.
Right.
Hire slow, fire fast, right?
Yeah.
Toby O'Rourke said that in one of our first
And that's
some of
really
those first
hard.
episodes.
That, like, for me, I'm like, oh, I need to give him a chance. And the fire fast is really, that's a hard one for me.
Yeah. I don't think it's easy for anybody.
Yeah. and I think, thankfully, I haven't had to do that. But there will come a time when I have to do that. So
we'll get you in touch with Toby. She'll give you all the tips.
But she did say that, and I think that it's a really good piece of advice for a company when you're the one that's like, you're trying to move your company in this direction.
Right.
You really want to make sure you hire well
You
for
have to have the people,
your company.
to do that.
One short side, one thing that I've noticed is that I am an introvert by nature. I can be extroverted, and I'm extroverted at the shop. It's part of what I need to do, and it's okay for me. But I realize that I'm hiring people that are more like me.
Oh.
And I'm
like, we need some extroverts in here.
Yes. And so when I start hiring again, and I think that's going to come pretty soon, because my staff is fluctuating with school. I have a lot of college age people that are working for me, and their schedules change. And so I'm going to make it a point to really try and seek out that extroverted personality, because I didn't realize it, but I was told that oftentimes business leaders and owners, they do just naturally hire those people that are a lot like themselves.
Yes. And you need all the people to steer the ship.
Yes.
Yep.
I need the balance.
And I think that's great self-awareness too on your part. So, yeah.
I know, it was like, all my staff are these quiet, introverted people by nature. And, and they do great with customer service, but it's not something that fills them, that fuels them. They're tired at the end of the day and they need to go home and
they've
decompress.
been on all day.
Right. So I need the opposite.
One of the questions we've always learned when we're, talking with clients that need extroverted individuals is asking, when your battery's low, how do you charge yourself? Is that going home and being alone, or is that going and being around friends? And that's how you can kind of get a good gauge for
that's a really
somebody that's extroverted, because they'll get charged by other people.
Right.
So
right. But what's funny is I oftentimes am exhausted by extroverts. So that might be why I don't hire them.
Yeah, because you're like, this would be too much.
Oh. But again,
it's really funny. I feel like I'm a mix. So anyway, it's funny.
And I think we all are a mix.
It's just which is higher than the other.
Right. Yeah. But I also try to surround myself with people that know more than I do and that have greater skill sets. And so an extroverted person in the front of the house
Perfect.
and I can train my current staff and they do a beautiful job, but it drains them. And I'd love to have somebody up there that just keeps them going when they're out there talking to people. And, so that person's out there.
Yes,
just have to
you'll find them. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Well, I was just going to say, it's been so fun to have you on and hear about your story. And we come in a lot, so it's been a lot of fun to like hear how you make the juices. But before we wrap each episode, we like to ask 3 rapid fire questions. They're like rapid-ish as we joke, we'll hear a quick message from a sponsor and then jump into our rapid fire questions.
Big thanks to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The SBDC is an incredible resource for small business owners, offering free one-on-one counseling, business plan support, market research, financial projections, and much more. Whether you're just starting out or looking to grow, they're here to help your business succeed. Reach out to us at bigsky.economicdevelopment.org. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to start on our rapid fire questions here. So my first question for you is, what is your favorite Fresco juice order?
Oh,
I know.
Right now, I've got, okay.
You could do your top 3 if that is better.
Mighty Green.
Okay. Ooh. That's a good one.
And I'm loving the hummus right now with the fresh.
I'm going to have to try that.
I need to come
vegetables.
Get some hummus.
My other go-to is the vanilla smoothie with the extra almond drizzle on the side and on the top. Oh my stars, so good.
Okay, I'll be trying that.
I'm just going to come in and ask for Cindy's order.
Cindy's fave.
One of my staff added coffee beans to that one. So our mocha has coffee beans in it.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of that little crunch that you get.
Yeah, I love that.
And what she did was she took the vanilla and she put the coffee beans in there at the end, like we do for the mocha. And
wow,
I want that one.
That
with the extra almond drizzle.
Yes, yes, that one's the bomb. I love that
one. And is it like a protein smoothie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yes.
So my question is, what is some advice you would give a small business owner and or entrepreneur just starting out?
It's not a loaded question or anything.
You've got this. Have faith in yourself. You are capable of more than you ever dreamed of. And if you don't know the answer, there's somebody out there that does.
Ask the question.
Ask the question.
I really love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's good.
So our last question for you is, what gets you going in the morning? How do you start your day?
Coffee. Coffee and prayer.
Oh, I love that.
I wake up in the morning and I hobble out to my kitchen. I make a double coffee and I hobble back to my closet. I have a little corner in my closet. That's my prayer corner. I have a chair in there. I turn on my my sad light and I flood myself with light and I flood myself with coffee and I just start talking to the Lord and asking him what he wants me to do today and who he wants me to pray for and so on and so forth. So that's how my day starts.
I love that.
That's so sweet.
Well, it's been great having you on and learning so much about you. And gosh, I can't wait to come in and try your favorites.
So we've been talking about you and Fresco Juice. Where can people connect with you, learn more about your menu, your downtown address, your website, social, all of it?
Our website is frescojuiceco.com. Social Fresco Juice Co. on Instagram and Facebook. And all of the information is there. You can online order for pickup through our website, and subscribers can sign up on our website. Our website is the hub.
Awesome.
I love
it.
And
it has lots of stuff about the juices and about, my journey and all of those things.
I love it. We'll get on down there, try the two juices that are official Vault drinks, 14 karat
and blue juice. I also love the veggie lover. So if you're wanting a green juice I love that one.
That's an OG. That was one of the very first greens that we had.
I'm obsessed with it.
I love it.
Go get yourself some flu shots. Yes. Just do all the things.
Yes. Come in and say hi. I love people coming in and just having conversations.
Thank you, Cindy.
So if you go in and try it out, make sure to tag the Vault and Fresco Juice.
Hey,
thanks.
Thanks, ladies.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Make sure you are subscribed to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, wherever you podcast, including YouTube.
Connect with us on Facebook at The Vault at 201 North Broadway and Instagram at thevault_201.
Don't forget to visit us at thevault@201.com and subscribe to our newsletter.
We will see you next time.
Bye.